thanks, Nikki, for taking the time. So we're here with the founder of GetBetter, a really amazing platform that we've had the awesome privilege to be able to work with to help them tell their story, build out their deck materials. And so maybe, Nick, if you want to kind of give a high level, about GetBetter and like what was the path that led you to, starting this platform.
Yeah, definitely. So GetBetter, it's a social media app for health and fitness where users can post workout content, eating healthy, going for a walk, yoga, or really like whatever it is that the user does each day to get better, and really kind of focusing on like the universal aspect of like doing one thing each day to get better and really try to tackle the problems of meeting our health and fitness goals, where the two biggest problems for people failing to meet those goals are lack of accountability and lack of motivation. And these end up leading to people failing to meet these health goals, which also leads to further problems such as like physical health problems, mental health problems. And the whole idea of Get Better is to really kind of tackle all of these problems with one simple solution and really just providing that social element where people can jump on the app each day, see, oh, five of my friends have worked out, one's eating healthy, and really kind of like ingrain that idea of doing like one thing each day to get better. And just, it doesn't have to be that complicated, and really hitting on like the universal aspect because there's so many fitness tracking training apps out there already that exist. And the idea is that like, hey, if like there's all these that exist out there, but if you're not doing the first step of just getting there to do it, none of those really matter to begin with. That's really like our goal and our focus is really providing that extra push really through like a community element and really like societal pressures to get it done. And on top of that, we're enhanced and really make it about the whole build your own brand within the platform. Users can also create their own health plans, workout plans, and eventually be able to monetize off them and also be able to sell them in our marketplace. With eventually, we're building out where you can kind of be financially rewarded for working out or getting better each day, whether it's through earning a Get Better buck. So we're kind of calling it right now for a placeholder, where essentially like a user can earn a Get Better buck each day and eventually redeem in our marketplace. Right now, we have 12 partnerships with several different health brands, whether it's like apparel, protein bars, it's like ones like energy drinks, all different types, and really kind of like hitting on all elements. But yeah, overall, just kind of really kind of create a social element and then really tie in all those integrations with the wearables and then really gamify the whole experience.
Yeah, amazing. I'm curious, like, what made you so passionate to want to solve this problem?
Yeah, so I guess kind of like I've always been like working out my whole life and like really big into like sports, played them throughout my whole life growing up. And I guess kind of like once I kind of hit like the workforce and like I definitely like liked working out. And then I kind of was more like working out content and stuff like that. But like you don't always want to be like blowing up your Instagram, like just showing like, oh, I'm at the gym today, and everyone's like, all right, no one really cares about that, like we get it and stuff like that. So it's kind of funny when Be Real was popular. It was kind of like a lot of my friends are like, well, the best time for Be Real to go off is like when you're actually like at the gym doing something. So I actually kind of we started messing around with like Snapchat public groups and kind of really throwing the idea out there. I think this is actually when we talked to you guys like a year ago. We're like, hey, like so we built out this like Snapchat public group where we just kind of really want to see like do other people like posting this type of content or just like is it just like me and my couple of my friends, and we kind of realized that like once you kind of create a community for like health and wellness to like post this type of content, a lot more people like doing so. And I also received a lot of feedback where people are like, hey, like this actually like motivates me, like seeing like, oh, it's like not some like gym influencer who dedicates their whole life on Instagram to working out each and every day. And like it's kind of an unattainable lifestyle. Whereas if you see one of your friends, it's more realistic and attainable to achieve. So it's better motivation to be like, oh, I see like couple of my friends, like one of my friends went out last night. Oh, they found a way to work out this morning. Like it's like real motivation that actually like sticks with you. And it's something easier to like kind of really tackle in life versus just like you can scroll all day on Instagram and be like, oh, there's content with like people posting workout reels and stuff like that. But it definitely changes like the game where it's like, oh, this person, they work a 9 to 5 the whole week. They still find time to work out. They're doing something each day to get better, and now it's like, hey, maybe I should start doing something. And I'm able to learn from other my friends and like what they do in their life, and really kind of like find someone similar to me and like really improve each day. Because that's the end goal is just do something each day to continue to get better and just continue to improve on life.
Yeah, no, I love the mission.
Yeah.
And um And I really like, I also like very much like resonate with what you're doing in general, like from a personal side. I think it's super cool. And then also, what are some like major milestones that you guys have hit to date?
Yeah, definitely some major milestones would be probably, I think we just hit close to like 500 downloads. We're still very early stage with about like 250 accounts made. We have pretty good usage each day with about probably like 20 to 30% of users posting content each day. And we're continuing to grow. We also have some strategic partnerships in the works that you guys kind of helped us work with. So we're excited about those. And I think kind of where we're at now for getting, we got the app on the app stores in last November and then like kind of tweaked out with all the bugs and stuff and really kind of getting to a good position. So just kind of as of right now, I think part of the main metrics definitely we have about 12 brand partnerships. We have about 250 users on the app with about like 20 to 30% posting daily, which is pretty good metrics compared to a lot of other social apps where like people are on it using it. But I think also the ability that people are actually posting that much each day is like a huge factor for us. Other than that, yeah, just continuing to see growth and then hopefully trying to continue with these strategic partnerships that we have in the works now and continue to grow on those and really continue to gain traction.
For sure. So, what would you say is like, what's your guys' top priority now?
Yeah, so definitely
Yep,
right now our top priority is getting users on the app and posting like as much as possible each day and really focusing on that community element. Because really like once you have that community element, then we can kind of I guess kind of taking a step backwards kind of ties into the community element where one of our main focus points on our app is that we really want to hit on it being a social app first, then health and fitness platform second, because there are a lot of other apps out there that have like these tracking and training elements for it. Then they throw in the social element second, where it doesn't stick as hard as like people still using it for like the tracking and training element, but like the social element doesn't end up being the biggest factor. Whereas if we feel like we can really build a social element and community aspect first, bringing in all those tracking training elements second, we'll be able to like have much greater traction, much better like versatility, and really be able to help multiple industries and not be able to focus just on, say, for example, weightlifters. We're focused on people who are like eating healthy, going for a walk, and any single thing that each person can do each day to get better and really try to hit almost every demographic as possible and find different tools or different ways to motivate those people to do what motivates them to do one thing to get better each day to help improve their life and really try to tackle every single demographic and segment as possible and really kind of make it this universal concept of just like getting better because at the end of the day I feel like it's pretty hard to find one person who doesn't want to like get better at one thing in life each day.
for sure. And there's probably going to be a lot of people listening to this. So, if there's anything that anyone can do to be of help to you, how can people help contribute to the success of Get Better? And based on kind of what's the highest priority of like. Sorry. Pretty much like how can people help you, based on where you're at right now, any way that other people can contribute to your success that you want to share?
Yeah, definitely. So I think probably the easiest way for people to help is downloading the app and kind of getting better each day and joining the community with people and really like showcasing what you do as like an individual to get better and really kind of show like the uniqueness of each user where it's like, hey, maybe I post working out content or you like to post like going for runs and stuff and really trying to build that atmosphere of it's very like it doesn't pertain to one specific group and really hitting on the universal aspect. So definitely that's probably the easiest way for people to help us out right now is really just getting the app out. And if you love it, trying to really share the message. Then on top of that as well, we're trying to get traction and then raise funding at the same time as well to really kind of grow out our team and really grow like build like a full team of developers below us and really have be able to like kind of implement these next groups of features that we have in plan, such as like groups, the marketplace, and really implementing that fully and really just kind of like trying to tackle on all these like major features we want to continue to add and grow. So outside of using the app, definitely we're trying to really raise traction and really hit on trying to raise some capital here. And that's why I kind of came to you guys with the pitch deck. And we're very happy with that. And we feel like that's going to help us be in a great situation to like really make that next step towards securing capital with it. So it's definitely the next step. And also on top of that, probably just continue to secure brand partnerships in the health and wellness space where we can list your products on our marketplace and really kind of generate like a new additional source of revenue for you guys with our community that we can drive customers directly to your products from our platform. We are in that industry really kind of focused on those elements. But yeah, those are probably like the main segments as of right now. Then also always open to some strategic partnerships as well to continue that throughout this as well to really continue our outreach and help with traction as well. So end of the day, I feel like all those mentioned, they all kind of tie together. And then definitely the overall need is probably raising capital right now.
For sure. So I hope hopefully anyone who's listening who might be interested in getting in contact with you, we can definitely make that happen. And I think it's been really cool. At least for me, like I feel like I've seen you guys grow really from the beginning, and now you guys have. It was always a question of, okay, do we like how far do we need to get until we need to raise? Like what do we need to show to investors, and like all those questions that like a lot of other founders also are questioning and kind of like struggling with as they're also focusing on the business, and the questioning of how do I focus on the business and also raise and kind of figure out that path and navigating like the VC route as well. So I'm curious kind of what was like the struggle that, or maybe in either what was the main struggle or if there were several that you were facing, when you were thinking about, raising and taking that path. And I guess then, what led us to then kind of work together on what we did.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, definitely like kind of, I always think about like our first call we had, I think it was about like a year and a half ago. And you kind of like really, we had this idea. We kind of didn't really know like the first step of, we knew where we wanted to go, idea we had with it, but we didn't really know like what's the first step of actually going there. And so like we actually set up that call with you, and you kind of were like, hey, like the best thing to do is kind of create like this MVP type. And it's kind of funny, like I didn't even know what an MVP was at the time. Like, Ben and I, that's my brother, and we both have having zero like tech background, really kind of jumping into a space and kind of really having to learn everything as we go and really trying to like execute and really like take us from step to step and continuing to build. So it was kind of a cool experience just starting with you, and you're being like, hey, like the best course of action, like probably build out this MVP and kind of show like this type of proof of concept and really build traction off that. So kind of really taking your feedback and then kind of like hitting the ground running. I know we kind of reached out to a couple people at University of Illinois that you told us to possibly help, and that kind of really was like a game of like who could get us to like the next level. And so we had definitely like a few different people helping with the development side initially. And then eventually we kind of were able to find this company and like outsource a lot of the development work to really like get us to like on the app store and get everyone using it. And then that's kind of where we knew that like, all right, we got the MVP stuff farther than the MVP with some additional features and really like trying to like fine tune it and like really make it like different than other social apps as much as possible as we can at this early stage. But ultimately though, we kind of knew that like, all right, like we got to this great point. We were able to get people on the app right now using the app. They're able to post it. They're basically for like the biggest the utility of it, which is kind of like the community aspect is like the biggest aspect right now that we really want to focus on and really kind of showcasing that like people want to post this content if there's a comfortable space for doing so. And also now displaying that like, hey, like we have this community, there's proof of concept here, we're gaining traction. And we've done so with just kind of like being able to keep continuing to like take us from step by step to get from over a year and a half ago, and we're not even knowing really what like an MVP was, to now having an app on the App Store, having like a marketplace, a whole platform, with the end goal of being like the ultimate like health and wellness platform for individuals to use. So now we're kind of getting to that point where it's like we have proof of concept. We're getting really good customer feedback that people really like posting on this each day. Like it motivates them, it holds them accountable, and they like being to kind of like track their progress through pictures and videos versus just like numbers and stuff on like a tracking and training app. And then really just kind of like the community aspect where it's like you're not alone during this fitness and health journey, where it's like you're seeing other people doing it. They're waking up early just like you. They're going to work, like they're finding time in the day to get better. And that's the ultimate goal. So now it's kind of we got to this point and now we realize that all right, like we feel comfortable with like the numbers we have. Like we know that like there's going to be more problems in the future with more increased traction. We have all these other ideas that we want to implement. We kind of have like the groundwork set too with all these brand partnerships. We have like around 10 to I think 12 I mentioned right now, and then we have more in the works as well. We also have some strategic partnerships where it's like all like the building blocks of the foundation are there. And now it's like, all right, now we just need the final piece of like this is should get us some capital, then build up the in-house like development team and really take this thing to the next level. And yeah, kind of like get the escape velocity going on users and really like build out this full product and kind of go full circle from our first call or just like, yeah, like you guys build out this MVP and get some traction going. And now it's like, all right, like we're at that stage. Took us a little bit, but we kind of figured it out, continued to execute on these ideas. And now it's like, let's continue to take this to the next level.
So good. So it's such a good story. And it's also just like so cool to, and also like, also as like a young founder and entrepreneur and just like getting after it and like really like I see a lot of founders that like say, it's like it's always a question of, how can you build out that like early foundation, early traction, and a
Yeah.
lot of that just comes down to like just doing it, like
Yeah,
literally just being
exactly.
heads down and like
You just got to figure it all out as
just
you
figure it
go.
out. You literally just figure it out, and like there's
Stuff's
always
not going to
going to be
work and you
people
just got to
along the
keep
way
moving.
that like, huh?
Yeah. No, it's like stuff's not going to work. And you just got to figure out how to make those things work and continue to like, it's like a puzzle in a sense. And like some pieces just aren't going to fit. And you got to really figure out like, all right, like there's got to be a way to do it. And that's the thing. It's like, there's always a way to figure things out at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Amazing. I guess like if there was one piece of advice for other early stage founders, what would you say that what type of advice could you give?
I would just say like, I feel like it's a little corny, but you just kind of can't give up, and you got to understand that like stuff is going to be difficult, but like that's the reason why like most startups fail is because there's so much adversity, and you have to be willing to like day in and day out, no matter what, just continue to like build momentum on each day, whether it's just small victories of just like whatever it can be to like benefit your company to keep things moving forward, and really understand that like you're building a company for like the 5, 10 year, 15-year outlook, where it's like you're gonna have some bad days and like things aren't gonna work. But as long as you keep like putting in the work each and every day to like really figure things out and really go the extra mile, and like it really just comes down to like just not giving up and really just executing in and out, you're gonna keep making progress and eventually things are going to work out, and they always do. So you just gotta stay positive and really just put in the work and just kind of just understand like, hey, like as long as I don't give up, this is going to work out. So that's the end goal. Yeah, so I thought the deck building process is I like how it's set up where you kind of have like your storyboard sessions where it's kind of like it's not where more so where it's like, hey, like here's our materials, like give us a pitch deck back. It was more like, hey, like you guys want to like really understand like our vision of the company, what's our goal, what's our roadmap, where do we want to be in it's like, hey, like why are we coming to you? Like essentially like how come like you guys are struggling to convey the message you guys want? And then you guys are kind of like, hey, like we'll understand your message and really put together like the story for you guys and really display it well and really take it to the next level. Because like it's easy for us to have like the story and have all these different moving parts, but then it's also nice to be able to jump to you guys where it's like you understand both from like the founder perspective and from like the investor perspective on what they want to see and like what they want to see from us. And you guys kind of were able to like bridge the gap and really connect the pieces and really kind of like, hey, this is how you have your story. This is how they want to see it. And this is how we're going to work together and like get you from point A to point B.
Pretty much when they initially come to us is like they feel like they're so like ingrained in the business and like knees deep in the business where like they don't have that like that objectivity to when like building out the story, telling the story. They're not sure like, okay, well, so because everything as a
Yeah.
founder, like you're super knees deep, so it's like, well, like how much should I be sharing, how much should I not be sharing? Like was that something that also is like going through your head?
Yeah, definitely. I even think just like a simple thing was even like dealing with like portraying like the true problem, where it's like I feel like there's a problem, there's like two central problems at play where it's like you have your problem like on a macro level where it's like physical health and mental health being the greatest problem, like two of the biggest issues in like the US and potentially in the world with people. But then it's like, well then like what is your product doing as like to solve that problem? Where it's like, oh, like we're really focusing on like that motivation and accountability aspect of like if there's a lack of it and that's results into like this, so it's kind of able to like you guys were able to really help with like kind of like see like yeah there is the bigger picture here and really connect the two of like here's our product and here's the bigger picture and really like bridge the gap between the two and like really explain that like yeah like we're creating this product, it's a platform that tackles the like initial elements or initial problems for like people failing to meet these goals and people the element of like people fail to meet these goals and they lead to this greater problem. So we are able to like, it was an issue I definitely had in the past with like kind of making the pitch deck of really trying to explain the problem. And I think kind of you guys were able to really help with like kind of like take me a step back and be like, all right, there's a way to like explain this in like a right like storyboard role where like you don't have to hit on all this in one slide. You can kind of like break it out and like really tell the story on it. I really like the how you guys portrayed like the use of funds. I really like the visuals. That was the big thing too as well.
Nolan's so talented.
Yeah, like I was surprised too. Even like small like things. Like when we first got it back, there was like I like was like missing. It was like the two lines across the top of the slides, and he was able to like get rid of it like pretty quickly. I'm like something so small can like kind of really change the whole thing. I'm like, oh, it's like this looks like really good. Like what I was expecting now. Like this looks great. So like yeah, he was able to do that on the spot. I really like the designs. I really like the layout. I really liked how one thing I think that I was surprised about that I wasn't expecting was like the structure and like I just kind of like the layout of the whole deck of like how you guys told the story, which is definitely something that was new to me that I don't think I would have told it in like the same way, but I like this way a lot better. And I feel like it conveys our message more and really portrays like who we are now as a company and also really hits on like where we want to be in the future and like what's the true potential of this. And it really correlates to like why an investor is going to read this deck and be like, all right, I understand where you guys are now. I see the long-term vision of it. This is why my capital is going to be worth a lot more in the future and why the investment would make sense based off of the way the story is conveyed. I thought that's what was really represented well in the slide deck you guys provided for us.
Amazing. And hopefully, once you start sending it out to investors, you'll get amazing feedback and then be able to successfully close the round. I guess that's the
That's the
goal.
plan. Yeah.